Attention! Water washable resin is still toxic when uncured. Always wear gloves and equipment to handle it. Don't run uncured part under your tap or dispose the waste in the drain. Always use dedicated equipment to avoid cross-contamination. So today we're going to be reviewing the Sunlu Water Washable Resin in grey here. So as you can see, it is water washable, and I think the biggest benefit is that you don't need IPA to clean your print. So I've just removed that from my printer, the standard original photo, and I'm going to show how I use this to post-process it. First step, of course, you need to sink it in under the water. I use warm water because it seems to dilute the uncured resin a little bit better. I usually keep my water here in the milk gallons, but that's purely because I don't have a water source here in my garage and workshop. So the process to clean it is pretty straightforward, very much the same as you would do with IPA. You can use that on your wash station, or if you have an ultrasonic cleaner, you can also use that with the benefit that you won't catch fire or anything like that. So that's probably a point if you have an ultrasonic cleaner. Here I'm just using a bucket or a container and a bit of a elbow grease with a toothbrush. I usually try to do several steps just to kind of dilute the resin further and further and have a very clean part. So you see from my first wash, I just dip it in another container with fresh water and just carry on doing the same steps. So I'm just showing the 3 buckets that I use. This is the second rinsing, and as you can see, it runs quite well inside the part, so that's a benefit as well. And here my last wash, very pure water, also a little bit warm, and the benefit of running the warm water as well as it is the support removal, as it starts making it a little bit easier to remove. So once you washing it in warm water, you also have the benefit of making the supports easier to remove. So yeah, give it a good rinse as you usually do, and make sure it is fully clean before you start the curing process. And before curing it, I just tap it gently with a paper towel over a rag or an old towel. You can use compressed air, you can do whatever you want just to make it dry, and again put it in your curing station. If you want to check on how I made this DIY solution here, check on the link above and all the steps and materials that I used to build this UV curing chamber. So leave it curing as you usually do with normal resin, and once it's fully cured, you can leave it there for a few minutes. You will then realize it's pretty much done, and as you can see, quality wise is as good as standard resin. Now, an important factor for me is how easy it is to sand to remove the support marks. So again, I don't see any penalty or any benefit over the standard grey resins. It is very easy to sand, as you can see, very quick buff. We're using a file, does the trick, or a nail buffer, as you can see here. I don't think it's gonna be any harder, or it doesn't seem to be any brittle at all. So I guess for resins, statues and miniatures, it's very good. Here's another example, very thin print here over the hat, and because of all the supports that I needed to print this one, I need to be very gentle on how I'll be sanding and post-processing the under part of the hat. So again, it doesn't seem to be any hard to remove the support mark. Then I remembered I had this very useful tool for removing the support marks. It is electric nail buffer. I bought this one in Boots. I'll see if I find a link and leave into the description here. But as you can see, it's very gentle, but it does a very good job on making the support marks gone, as it sends electronically. It's not very powerful. If you force it, it will stop it, but at least for these very gentle works, it works a treat. again, yeah, a very good recommendation. I'll see if I find a online link and leave in the descriptions if you're interested in buying one of these. Definitely very helpful. And again, a final look on details. The final project, this is already primed and joined, but I didn't notice any degradation in print quality or crispness in comparison with the standard ones. Now, a very important point, it's not because it is water washable that means you can dispose this in your sink. So what I usually do is I treat this pretty much as IPA. I keep that stored in these clear containers or buckets. And the reason why I prefer to keep them in the clean containers is because I can use solar power or sunlight to cure and recycle it. I'll show you in a second. So just leave it in the sun as you would do with IPA, and the resin will start settling down and curing over the time. Once it settles down a little bit, I use these coffee filters just to recycle and reuse the water again. As I said, I keep them stored in a gallon of milk, and I use a kettle, a dedicated kettle please, to warm my water up again and rewash new prints. And just for you to see here how it sediments at the bottom, it will not be clear. I've never managed to make it clear back again, but it's good enough to keep rinsing and washing your prints for a long time. So I guess that's one of the benefits against the IPA. And once again, if you use a paper filter, you'll be able to remove all these clumps of resin that builds up once you cure it. And again, I've been using that for a while and I never had any problems. I just warm that up in the dedicated kettle and keep rinsing new prints. Thanks for watching. See you next time.